Hello, 8th graders, and welcome to week 2 of Baking with Mrs. Jones. I really enjoyed all of your brownie pictures that you sent. I wish maybe you should have sent some brownies, but they looked fantastic. Some of you, who was it? Cecily put in white chocolate chips, and Sydney, what did you do, Sydney? You put powdered sugar on. Tyler, I know you did something that you were going to tell me, and I don't think you did, so let me know. Haley, you had it with ice cream, which was really good, but they looked amazing. So if you make cookies that I'm going to talk to you about today and tell you how to make, then please let me know how they turn out, all right? So send me a picture. Not many of you post onto the discussion board, and that's totally fine. You don't have to, but I do want to see how they go. So the majority of you said that for this week, you would like to know how to make chocolate chip cookies. So here we go. Let's get started. So clean your area and ask for permission, and then clean your hands, all right? So to get started, you're going to need a large bowl that can go in the microwave, and then you're going to need like a medium-sized bowl. This one doesn't need to go into the microwave. We are going to start this recipe out the first way we started the brownies, and that is going to be melting the butter. Now, why I want you to do this first is it's going to give the butter a little bit of time to cool once we melt it. So for this recipe, now I usually double it, but this is not the doubled recipe, so this is just a single one. You're going to take a stick and a half of butter. Now, the butter I buy is unsalted because we're going to add salt into the recipe, but if you have salted butter, it's completely fine. Truthfully, I've never been able to tell the difference, but the recipe goes for unsalted. So go ahead and melt your butter in the microwave. Now, how long? I don't know, because each microwave is a little bit different. You want to be careful that the butter does not explode. And if the butter explodes, you do not just leave it in the microwave. All right, and you don't just take like a napkin or a paper towel and wipe it off, because that's not going to clean butter. It needs like soap and water or a spray. So keep that in mind. I don't want to hear about messes in the microwave. All right, so once you have melted your stick and a half of butter, you can put that to the side and then take out that medium-sized bowl. Now here is going to be your dry ingredients, just like we did for the brownies. So for your dry ingredients, this is 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of flour, all right? And then it's a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and then a half a teaspoon of salt. Now I have a sifter, and so I go ahead and I sift all of my dry ingredients, but you totally don't have to. You could just take a fork or a whisk and kind of whisk that up, and then we're gonna set this to the side. Okay, let's bring the butter back. Now, again, I use a wooden spoon because you don't want to overmix. Now, somebody, I'm not gonna say names, Elizabeth Krause, but somebody disagreed with me about using a spoon and swears by the mixer. So Elizabeth, if you use your mixer for these cookies, I am super curious to see how they turned out. And truthfully, if we want to know exactly how they turned out, I think you need to make 2 recipes, all right? Or 2 batches, I should say. Use one with the wooden spoon, and then use one with your mixer, and see if I'm accurate. And if I'm wrong, you gotta let me know. All right, so I have my stick and a half of melted butter. Then you need 1 cup of packed brown sugar. And did you know, if you do not have brown sugar, you can just take white sugar and then add molasses to it. And if you don't have brown sugar or molasses, maybe just double the sugar. I guess I've never tried that, but you can. All right, then you need half a cup of white sugar. And you just stir it in with your wooden spoon, Elizabeth, or you can use your mixers. Does anybody else use a mixer for the brownies? It's okay, you could tell me. And Elizabeth, I'm sorry, I'm just picking on you. All right, so the consistency is going to look different. So for these cookies, I truly think why they're a little bit different than some other chocolate chip cookie recipes I've done. I really think it's something with the melted butter, and then we're gonna add an extra egg yolk, which is like the fat, which makes them pretty chewy. All right, so, and for your wet ingredients here, you can stir these as much as you want, okay? It's not gonna make a difference. Let's see, so butter and sugar, all right, vanilla, all right? So for the vanilla, make sure your lid is on before you shake that. Lovely. This is why you wear an apron, okay? Nana's apron on again. All right, this recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Love vanilla, and so I love the fact that it has 2 teaspoons in it. 1 and 2. All right. Oh my gosh, that made a mess. And then we're just going to mix this. Have you and your family talked about Easter plans, what you're gonna do? I know this Easter is gonna look different for a lot of us. I plan on Zooming with my family as much as I can. It's actually my mom's birthday on Easter. So that's special. I once had Easter on my birthday too, which was really early because again, it's at the end of March. What else? I read through, I already said this in your lesson, but I read through all of your comments when it came to routine and distant learning, and we're getting there. We're getting there. I know you guys, it's hard to adjust. So hard to adjust, but just keep Zooming and emailing us and we'll get through. We'll all work together. All right, so now we need to add the eggs. Did you master cracking the eggs? So with the eggs, don't want that to fall. You need 1 whole egg, okay? So that one's pretty easy. Now, I just want the egg yolk. I know many of you probably have different ways that you use to get the egg yolk out. This can be tricky, all right? So maybe do this in a separate bowl and not just into the wet ingredients in case you mess up, like I just did. All right, so what we're gonna do is, wait, now that I think this through, this isn't going to work. So I'm gonna do that, all right, and so then my egg whites will go in here. So you crack, this is how I do it. I crack the egg and then I very carefully just have the yolk go back and forth until all the egg whites are out, and then I put it into there. Okay, and again, messy. See, this is why you wear an apron. So you can just like wipe your hands on it. You're gonna get dirty. All right, now we're gonna mix in that egg. And I know what you're thinking, Elizabeth. This would be a lot easier if I had a mixer, right? Yeah. You're probably right. Okay. Now, that bowl that you had with your flour and your baking soda and your salt, we need to get that out because we are going to add that to this mixture. And I went, just add a little bit at a time or else flour goes everywhere. And this is the part where, just like with the brownies, this is the part that you don't want to overmix them. I don't know, what should I talk about? It's been beautiful out. I know I've seen some of you on walks or drives or whatnot when I'm out and about, which is kind of cool. BJ and Miles are building what are they building? Like a bike ramp or something in our wood shed that's going to go in the yard. So they're beyond excited about that. I had no say in that, but kind of losing a lot of say in the house knowing I'm the only female here. All right, so here's your dough. Now, believe it or not, BJ loves these cookies without any chocolate chips. I thought he was crazy when he first asked me to make these without any chocolate chips. I'm like, why? Like, chocolate is amazing. But I give them credit, like they are pretty darn good. It's almost like it's a brown sugar cookie. They're amazing right out of the oven. But we're going to add chocolate chips. So the chips that I use are going to be semi-sweet. All right, you can use semi-sweet, you can use dark chocolate, so good. Milk chocolate's fine too. Milk chocolate is a little bit sweeter. So I don't know, add as many chips in as you want. Now, I'm going to show you a step though, where I add chips to the top of the cookies. There we go. So I don't add as many in the batter. All right, so our batter is done. Take my cookie tray. Now, I use one of these. Looks like an ice cream scoop. You know what? I bet you could use an ice cream scoop. All right, so you can use one of these. If you want a 1/4 of a cup, I would not do like a heaping 1/4 of a cup, but they're relatively-ish the same. Or just use your hand. Totally doesn't matter. But this way, then all your cookies are even. All right, so I'm gonna scoop some cookies. Now, you can honestly just plop them, all right? You can plop them down and be like, done. But what I'm going to show you next is going to give your cookie some texture, all right? It's not gonna taste any different, it's just gonna look a little bit different. So I am going to take the cookie, all right, and throw a chocolate chip, and I am going to break it apart. Now, these jagged sides are going to face up. So I'm going to put the cookie together so the jagged sides are up. Some of you might be like, yeah, Mrs. Jones, that's way too much work. I think I'm gonna skip that step. And you can, that's completely fine. Usually I can get, if I'm making one batch, on 2 cookie sheets. This one's like a gigantic cookie sheet, so I might be able to get them all on there. And then I position my oven racks, one way on top and one way on the bottom, okay? Highest level and lowest level. And I forgot to even tell you to preheat your oven, so go back and preheat your oven. 350, I use convection, so 325 for that. And halfway through cooking, which is about 6 minutes, I flip and rotate the trays, okay? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and you're gonna watch me do all of these, but before I put them in the oven, I want to tell you again what I do. So I just take some chocolate chips and then I go ahead and I press a little bit more in the top. These are not going to, well, I guess it will make it taste different because it's going to have more chocolate in it, but I just think they look prettier if you do that, all right? But maybe you're going to try what my husband does. Maybe you're going to try no chocolate chips and let me know what you think. And yeah, so we are going to make these. Aim for 12 minutes, okay? 6 minutes halfway through, flip and rotate them. Sometimes I've noticed that it can go up to 14 minutes. So again, keep an eye. You don't want to over bake, but as soon as you see that they're getting brown on the edges, you're gonna wanna take them out, then leave them on the tray for about 5 minutes before you remove them. Sometimes I do a cooling rack, but sometimes I just put tin foil right here on this butcher block, and I just put the cookies on the tin foil. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven and I'll show you what the end result is. All right, so we are done making our cookies now. And if you can tell that it's going to have a little bit extra texture on the top if you did the twist and break apart and put together. Miles is enjoying the cookies as well. And yeah, I hope that they turned out. Please send a picture and let me know how they look before you dig in and eat them. Another thing I was going to tell you is you can just take the dough, and sometimes I like to make just one big cookie. I have a pizza stone that I've actually never used for pizza before. I just make one giant cookie on it, and then I go ahead and I make a frosting and we make it into a cookie cake, and it's pretty darn good. You can do that though with a square cookie pan as well. But I'm super excited and anxious to see how they turned out, and enjoy.